Breakfast. Right now, we will be looking at some of the topics that has been trending over time, and we are focusing on what WHO has said. This is saying that it is suspending the use of hydroxychloroquine for treatment of COVID-19. And joining me to talk about this is Barrister, moving on, rather, the National Assembly has denied allegations of corruption leveled against its committees by the Niger Delta Development Commission. And joining me via Skype to talk about this is lawyer and social development advocate Jide Ologun. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast. You must have been following developments with the NDDC. 19 years now, the battle for the soul of the NDDC has been raging. And now we have seen the recent development, especially with regards to allegations of monies up to 40 billion being allegedly stolen there. Talk to us what you make of this.
You know, it's quite disturbing, particularly when this is connected to development. You know, we have all been clamoring for the development of Nigeria. And when you have situations where projects are smuggled in, where resources that are meant for the development are diverted corruptly by some human beings entrusted to carry out the development, then there is a need to call on justice. And what I mean by justice is that one of the key promises of this present regime towards the 2015 election, in fact, the major reason that gave a leeway was to fight corruption. And this is not a strange thing. If you look at Section 15, subsection 5, of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, it says that the state shall abolish corruption and every form of abuse of office. And so the mandate is already there. And we have always said it, if you carry out your investigations and some are indicted in the process, why don't you run them through prosecution and let there be consequences? But in situations where we don't allow consequences and we just pay lip service to this effort, we may not achieve the required result, because whether we like it or not, the same region will start complaining that there's no development. So I think the burden is on the government to do the needful.
So invariably, what you're saying is the government's handling of the situation at the NDDC over the years is what has given room for all of what we are seeing happening now.
Definitely. You see, if there are no consequences, if people believe that they can commit crime and go away, whether because of their influence within the system, or because they can manipulate the processes, or because the structure itself is not efficient, they continue. That is what we call reinforcement theory in industrial psychology. Whatever you can prevent that you don't prevent will get worse. Does it not amaze you that there is a report that my great nation has spent about $20 billion in the last 21 years to sort out the power problems that we have, and yet we still have this terrible electricity power profile in the country that is hindering us from moving forward and stepping into prosperity. And that is why we are the capital of poverty. But on the other side of the coin, you find individuals who are so wealthy, they can buy up a whole state within the system. So, and when you allow these corrupt elements to operate without consequences, then you are reinforcing crime. And that is my position. But if you deal with them, then they repent. And those who can go into such practices later will also not venture in. I want to give you a brilliant example. We know either in Saudi Arabia, there is zero tolerance for drug trafficking. And some may say that their penalties are too harsh, but that is what they want. Indonesia also says we don't want drug in our communities. So it depends on what you condone. But by and large, even though the government came out with a strong intention and promised to fight corruption, I believe by content analysis, by our researches, by our engagement, that we still have an incredible, sustained level of corruption in this country.
But the interim management committee, through some of its members, has come out to say that or deny these allegations that they haven't even awarded any contract except for the intervention funds, especially for the COVID-19. That is the only thing that they have done since they took up that position.
What have we not denied in Nigeria? When Babachi Lawal was alleged to have spent millions of naira cutting grass, he denied it. They always denied it. You remember the Ikoyi gate? It was denied. There is a recent one that about 7 billion naira was spent in buying an uncompleted building. All these things are denied. And that is the place of intelligent investigation. In the criminal justice value chain, you need intelligent investigation, you need diligent prosecution, and a committed judiciary. And but I have always said it, where there is a way, where there is a will rather, there is a way. My sister, were we not all in this country by the grace of God when the Ganduje gate came out, where we saw videos where the governor was collecting dollars and packing in his parachute? I mean, were all these things not denied? So it's not about denial. Denial is one of the responses in crisis management. It is all these denials that has brought us to becoming the capital of poverty in the world. Nigeria has enough resources to be the greatest nation in the world. And my position is that as long as we handle these matters with kids' gloves, we are going nowhere. But if we must make progress as a nation, we must allow the law to run its course, and we must allow justice. We were taught in the law school that justice should not only be done, but clearly seem to have been done.
Absolutely, and that's where I want to take you up on. Two questions in one. What do you think that the Niger Deltans have done enough to ensure that the essence for the NDDC, why it was put in place in the first place, is brought to light? Plus, what will be justice being seen to be done, especially for the Niger Deltans, ensuring that justice is done for those people?
I've said it, my sister. The Constitution is clear that the state shall abolish, the meaning of abolish, to eradicate corruption and abuse of office. And these are the two elements. We have the ICPC, we have the EFCC, we have all the paraphernalias of justice in the country to deal with this matter. And again, one other thing I should bring to the light here is that towards the 2015 election, there was a promise to shift the burden of proof in the criminal justice towards fighting corruption from the prosecutor to the accused, because we have this presumption of innocence under the Constitution that an accused person is presumed innocent until the case is proved beyond all reasonable doubt. But that has not been done till now. So if you make it easy for the accused to maneuver and lobby their ways out, I mean, you're not helping the nation. If we must fight corruption, let us fight corruption. But by and large, the impact of corruption will always run its course if we fail to fight corruption. But I am saying, and that is my position and submission, that the mandate of fighting corruption is constitutionally posited in the government.
All right, let's leave the conversation here for now, for want of time. Thank you so much, Jide Ologun, for speaking with us.